Starting a Christmas series tonight. I mean, can you think of any really good Thanksgiving movies?
What's up, kiddies? It's time for another episode of Damien Ruins Horror Movies. My name is Damien, and as per usual, this episode is brought to you by Cool Dude Inc. So go down and click the link in the description and go make yourself look good. Tonight we'll be discussing The Last Thanksgiving, because it's beanie and flannel weather. It's already freezing out. And make sure to stick around to the end of the episode where we will be discussing the Badass Award, survival tips, and final thoughts. But first, we're going to cue up the Whiskey Bat so you can listen to on Spotify, Apple Music, and in the description there's a link to their YouTube channel, so go check them out and let's go. You can watch this movie, The Last Thanksgiving, on Tubi. And spoiler alert, the opening credits is probably the best part of this film. When you turn it on, it really looks like you're about to watch a 70s movie. And I'm not sure why, because it doesn't take place in the 70s. It's the story of Lisa Marie, a college dropout who lives with her mom and dad. And I don't really understand her family dynamic. It seems like it's definitely her real dad, but her relationship with her mom, it seems more like the evil stepmother.
Your daughter's going to be late for work.
She's a big girl. She can get herself ready.
And my stepmother, they just have a shitty relationship, and it seems like she's kind of too old for them to have that relationship with each other unless she was butting heads with a step-parent. Her and her mom should be way past all that teenage rebellion crap and kind of laughing at it by this point. So, I don't know. I think it's got to be her stepmom. They don't say. Which kind of makes me think that it's her real mom, because otherwise they would indicate it. Movies like to really rub weird details in your face. But it's Thanksgiving, and Lisa Marie has to work in a restaurant, no less. And that's part of the reason why her and her stepmom are butting heads. Her stepmother's trying to teach her responsibility. But it also kind of feels like her parents want her to go to work because it's a shitty job, and the more she goes to her shitty job, the more she's going to be like, I don't want to do this. Kind of some reverse psychology crap where they got to trick her into going back to college and thinking that it's her idea, because the future looks like this: going and doing shifts at a restaurant that makes you work on Thanksgiving when you don't want to. Because for some reason she'd rather spend it with her family, who she doesn't seem to get along with that well. But on the way out the door, she overhears her mom call her a bitch.
You evil.
Honey.
Sorry, but you can be such a bitch sometimes.
That's not cool. And that's stepmom shit right there. She works at Dairies, and on the sign out front it says fish and grits, which is weird because all they serve is sandwiches and salads.
The salad?
And we meet her co-workers, first Trudy, and then Eddie.
Remember in 7th grade when I crapped myself at Haley Weinfeld's bat mitzvah? Everybody called me Shardy McTabernacle for a year and a half.
Go Shardy, it's your birthday. Well, actually it's Thanksgiving. Eddie wants to ask Tyler out.
That's crazy.
But it's kind of oddly alluded to that Tyler was trying to get with Lisa Marie at some point in the past. The boss man brought his invalid dad in, which indicates to me that the job is passed down, like his dad owned it first and now he's handing it off to his son. And Lisa Marie walks in hopes of leaving early, which I don't understand, because like, oh, I want to leave early because it's Thanksgiving and I want to go be with my shitty family that I don't get along with. Because it seems like the whole reason why she has this job is so she has an excuse to leave her shitty home life. All the while, the killer family have been revealing themselves, and it looks like they live like in Lisa Marie's neighborhood, but I'm not really sure. As the movie goes on, I don't really know where the fuck they live. They can't be that close to her. The sister and brother look pretty normal. They seem kind of like the parent types, but their brother Trip is like, he's kind of like this Leatherface ripoff. And there's another sister that seems normal-ish. But who did they scoot the food bowl to? And what was in it?
What's in the bowl, bitch?
Back at the restaurant, I can kind of side with Lisa Marie not wanting to work. It's not like she's just some lazy flake who doesn't want to work. I mean, it's Thanksgiving. The place is dead. And it's a fish and grits place. They have a little staff meeting, and the boss man takes a family photo because we're one big happy family. And he kind of comes around and recognizes the place is dead. So how about we do a little cleanup, put a couple hours in, then everybody can bail. And everybody's pretty stoked. It sounds good. Let's do a quick cleanup. But then the door opens and a customer comes in. It's the legend, Linnea Quigley.
Are you open? Fuck!
From the likes of Return of the Living Dead, Night of the Demons, Graduation Day, Silent Night, Deadly Night. I really love when newer directors embrace the past. A young man walks in, Kurt, who just happens to be one of the Thanksgiving killers from down the road or wherever the hell. He's come in to apply for a job.
Nice meeting you all.
Weird day to go job hunting.
Not in this economy.
So now Lisa can't leave because she's got to show the new guy around. After showing him how to take out the garbage, she pawns him off on Trudy. She walks down to the theater to visit her boyfriend, Buddy. And she tries to hump him while he's at work, and he doesn't want to.
Wait. Can we rain check till after I get off work?
So she storms out of the theater, but not without shoulder checking his ass first. And she goes and calls her dad. She wants her dad to pick her up from work so she can come home. Which is really weird because they when she left to go to work, they kind of made a big deal out of her driving herself in her own car. And now her dad won't pick her up, so she's like, oh man, great, I'm stuck at work. But like, did you forget that you drove to work? There was no mention of car trouble. Your car was parked outside. And she's having an overall bad day because everybody kind of thinks she's a bitch. And I think she's starting to believe it too.
All I'm good at is being a nasty bitch.
She does have kind of a shitty attitude. And I think she would even if it wasn't Thanksgiving. I think she's just kind of that person. Probably not happy with her life, dropped out of college. Boyfriend's kind of a loser. Her coworkers are weird. Parents are fucked. But she goes back to work. And Kurt goes in the boss man's office and kills him with a whisk. Is that even possible? And his brains look like chili. His brother and sister arrive in their creep van and he takes Trudy outside.
The sooner I die, the sooner I'll stop wanting to kill myself.
Into said creep van and fucking kills her. Then he and his sister Maggie, not the one from the opening, different sister, the normalish one, they go inside and interrupt the Dance Party USA, and the killing ensues. Mrs. Kim gets it first, so Eddie, Linnea Quigley, and Mrs. Perez make a run for it, and they barricade themselves in the kitchen, not knowing that the back door, the exterior entrance/exit, is blocked because Tripp parked his creep van in front of it, so it won't open. Tyler hides in the bathroom but manages to escape and make it into the kitchen. But Boss Man's dad is a vet, and he ain't going down without a fight. He's also in a wheelchair.
Okay, Meals on Wheels. Mow me down.
But still, he manages to put up one hell of a fight, killing Maggie before meeting his own demise, but allowing enough time for Lisa Marie to make it into the kitchen. This film kind of reminds me of the movie Gravy, which you can also watch on Tubi. It's pretty good, but it's kind of a similar plot, but it takes place on Halloween, and it's like way better. Once in the kitchen, Lisa Marie has a little meltdown, and Mrs. Perez gives her a failed pep talk.
And maybe you're a fighter. You've just never had anything to fight for.
That's really cheesy.
It was, wasn't it?
Tripp moves the creep van, so they make a run for it. Linnea Quigley dies in the process. Tyler and Eddie escape in Lisa Marie's car that she forgot about. But Kurt chases them down and subdues them with tear gas.
Leave us alone!
Lisa Marie runs to the theater, not even thinking about her car. Like, seriously. It's like she literally forgot that she drove to work that day. Eddie awakens at Kurt's house. And at this point, seeing as how, Tripp kind of reminds me of Leatherface, They're a family of cannibals. It's Thanksgiving. There's a reason to eat. I'm expecting a full-on Texas Chainsaw Massacre dinner scene ripoff. If ever there was a time to rip off that scene, it would be now. But no. Instead, they round up all the captives and give them one last final phone call. A chance to call a loved one or someone. But anybody who indicates that they're in any kind of danger will be shot in the heart. Tyler's in the house, but he's not round up with them. So it would have been kind of funny if Eddie would have called him and been like, Tyler, because he was going to ask him out earlier, you know. But instead of killing and eating their captives, these dumbass cannibals have to instead explain their master plan, their origin. The same way I always stop to explain to my food why I'm so hungry. They are the descendants of an original pilgrim, Abigail Brimstone. She was part of the original Thanksgiving. And when they were going to have the feast, they were out of deer meat, but they didn't want anybody to know. And since deer meat tastes like human flesh, allegedly, I don't know how they know that, they made some killings and did a little substituting. So now every year, for the past 400 years, they celebrate by eating human flesh on Thanksgiving. But not just any human flesh, the flesh of those who don't celebrate Thanksgiving.
This is all because we weren't with our families on Thanksgiving.
But like most villains, the killers talk too much, priding themselves on their accomplishments instead of the task at hand, and the victims take over. Lisa Marie takes out the sister, and Eddie is still alive, but so is Abigail. So they hack her up and stick her in the oven. The end. The Badass Award goes to Boss Man's dad, because first of all, he's a veteran. He saw the murders, looked death right in the eye, but wouldn't accept it. He died on his shield and even took Maggie out in the process. What did we learn? What did we learn? What did we learn? What did we learn? Survival tales.
Don't go to work on holidays. Don't be a bitch. Don't leave the killer to your boyfriend's work. Refer back to rule number 2. If you're gonna kill somebody, don't talk. Just do it. And for God's sake, celebrate Thanksgiving with your family.
The victims of this film were all pushed away by their real families. And for some people, the people you work with become your family. As you get older, your social life shrinks, and you spend a third of your life at work. When it came time to make that final call to a loved one, each of them had trouble trying to decide who to call. And when they finally did think of somebody to call, it seemed like a final chance for acceptance. It wasn't they who pushed their loved ones away, but their loved ones who pushed them away. And every Thanksgiving, it slapped them in the face. They had to find something else to do, to justify or just ignore the fact that they were alone. But in this case, for the final irony, it was they who had to apologize. And this film was set up like Tripp was supposed to be some kind of badass. But he really didn't even hardly do any of the killing. Maybe they'll make a sequel and break out his character a little bit more, since it does seem like he was the lone survivor. But I don't really think that a sequel is necessary. This movie sucked ass, and he wasn't a very cool character. If you enjoyed this video, hit like and subscribe and share it.
Please!
And I'll see you guys next time.